Hey there, Kendall County, Jon Tipton and Robert Saenz again with another edition of the Texas Examiner, Kendall County edition. Today, or this evening, this afternoon, we are excited to have two guests with us that are moderators of two very popular Facebook groups. We have Mr. Eddie Vogt with Bernie Breaking News and Linda Rukavina with Bernie Area Citizens for Accurate Information.
You got that, John. That was pretty accurate.
Very good.
That was a mouthful. So welcome, everybody. We're so happy that you could take the time out and come and visit with us. And we're very excited to have you here.
Right. We are. And the reason we asked both Eddie and Linda to be here is because you all have quite a substantial amount of followers. And both of your pages have become a very good source of information for the community, especially with social media being what it is. But before we dive into your pages, I'd like to find out a little bit more about you. Let's start with you, Eddie. You're a native Kendall County.
Kendall County.
Yeah. Tell us about your background and how you got here.
Born and raised here. Went through all 12 years of public school here in Bernie. That's when everything was back on the Johns Road.
Yes.
Schools there. There was elementary, junior high, and high school all right in one area. In fact, my class 71, was the last class to graduate from the high school on Johns Road.
Oh, wow.
And then my sister's class, she was a year younger. They went half a year at the old high school on Johns and then moved out. We call it the new high school. It's now the new old one, or the old new one.
Right.
They're on Blanco.
And you got into politics early in life here in Kendall?
It was a little bit later on. Always kind of had an interest in mostly the law and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Never quite went that way until I had a chance to run for justice of the peace. And
did you win right out of the bat?
I won right out of the bat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
well, thank you for
that. Spent 8 years as justice of the peace. Well, probably the best years that I spent with the public.
Right.
Yeah, I had 4 years later on as county judge, and I just sucked big time.
That sounds like a big headache.
Politics.
Yes. Linda, how about yourself? Where do you hail from?
Well, I moved here when I was about 4. So I grew up in Leon Springs, spent my 20s that we don't need to discuss in San Antonio.
Okay.
And then we moved here to Bernie about 15 years ago. I'm a photographer by trade. That's what I went into the military for, but yet they put me as military police because, that's related. But, just hanging out and seeing what's going on, and the turmoil that we've had the last 5-6 years has really gotten a lot of people active and speaking up. So that's why I'm here.
Right. So
Military police, that's interesting. We have more in common than I thought. I'm military police as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
And your wife's a photographer.
And my wife is a photographer.
So I'm you two together.
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
They always say if you put you two together, you'd have a perfect human being. So here I am.
There you go. There you go. No lack of confidence there, Linda.
No.
Linda, so Bernie Area Citizens for Accurate Information. What led you to start that, or did someone else start that?
I didn't start it.
Okay.
It was started in 2016, I believe.
Okay.
And the gentleman who started it, forgive me, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. I was very active in the group because it is based in accurate information. So that is something that I always want to strive for, especially the last 5-6 years. We really need accuracy. And so he wanted to step down, and I think it was about 2018. He's like, why don't you be admin for the group? I was like, well, sweet, I'll do that, because I wanted it to go, because I wanted it to keep going. Otherwise, it was just going to disappear.
Die on the vine.
And to me, it felt like it was the only group of its kind in this area that, number one is accuracy. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. You can have your opinions as long as you label your opinion as opinion and don't present it as fact, because that confuses a lot of people.
Sure.
So I felt the group was really important to stay. So I volunteered my time to keep it going.
Interesting.
Is it what you thought it was going to be?
It is now.
The time requirements. I mean, did you understand fully what you were taking on?
I think so. Yeah, because I was pretty active in the group. That's why I was picked. So, and the gentleman who started it made sure that he picked people on opposing sides of the spectrum based on how we have interacted in the group to keep it fair.
Right.
It's like a checks and balances type situation. And we've pretty much held to that. I'm the policeman of the group, 100%. You can't get that out of me.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I make sure if you're presenting something as fact and you're putting something out there with links to stuff that is not fact,
Right.
I will absolutely. Sometimes I'll leave it in there just so people will know with a disclaimer. This is opinion.
Interesting.
Make sure this is opinion. I don't want to, I don't want to get into the free speech fights because a lot of people don't know what free speech is.
Right.
So I'm like, you're allowed to have an opinion, but you're not going to use my group to spread false information.
Right.
So that's my main goal. So every day I'm in that group, even though I work full time. I'm a mother. I'm busy, but I will go in there 2-3 times a day sometimes just to see what the new activity is, see what's in there. So. I've been a pretty good watchdog, I think. Sometimes some things slip in,
Sure.
and it might be a day or two before I get it. And then, we have great people in the group that will be, hey, and they send it to me. This is not right.
You're canaries. Canaries in the coal mine.
Exactly, for sure. So I do get a lot of help. In that.
About how many followers do you have now?
I think there's around 5,000.
Okay.
That's about right.
Yeah.
And you, Eddie, you are you doing the same thing with Bernie Breaking News, or are you having to moderate and be the administrator?
Well, I do a little bit of everything. We have a couple other admins in there that kind of do the heavy lifting and keep a better eye on things than I.
What is give us an example of where you've had to either block something or remove something from your page?
The main thing we got to watch out is just spammers.
Okay.
Like that. It's just, it's like, no, we don't advertise. We don't do anything. I mean, like if there's a, something, civic going on, barbecue or something, volunteer fire department, happy to post all of that. But, someone's opening up a air duct cleaning system.
Oh,
to say that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, go spend some ad
car
money somewhere.
detailers.
Car detailers and
So
and air vent.
do you ever get any hate mail from taking somebody off the page?
I don't think I've ever taken anyone off other than the spammers.
Other than Linda?
Like that.
Did you say you?
Yeah.
Well, I did.
I've been kicked off twice.
That's interesting. I want to hear about that, Linda.
Well, it's as well as I do, your page is mostly conservative.
Yeah.
So, and I am so not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't consider myself liberal. I consider myself more progressive.
Okay.
I voted for both red and blue in this state.
Right.
You're a closet libertarian.
No, libertarian is conservative light. But no, I vote on issues and who I think is going to do the best job. I'm not strict. People may hang me up for this, but I don't vote strictly on partisan lines. I just don't.
Sure.
I think we all should be that way, because
be a little better informed, kind of know every candidate.
Exactly. You got to know who's going to help, who's going to help get you where you
who's
want the country to be, and are there any? I don't.
That's a whole different show.
As far as politics is concerned, I don't trust anybody implicitly. Okay. I have been one of the most outspoken people, even though I voted for Biden. I've been the most outspoken at the stuff that I don't like. That's my job as a citizen. That's what I'm supposed to do. I don't just say, "Oh, I want to keep Texas red." Period. No, that's how fascism starts. So I want people to actually see both sides of the coin.
Yes.
And sometimes there's a third side of a two-sided coin.
Absolutely.
You never know. So I just, accuracy is my main thing. And it's logical. It's just logical. You don't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Hello, Einstein, he was right. So voting one way all the way every time without looking at the issues and looking at your family and how this is going to affect you. That's how we get in a downward spiral.
I'm so happy that we did away with party, straight ticket voting. I think that, and I think people are still struggling to understand that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was really
easy. People and I'm out.
I'm done.
Yeah, no.
Right. That's true.
No.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I get the people, when I'm voting, I get the people toe tapping behind me. What's taking so long? Well, you know what? I'm reading every single thing. I have, I go in and research before I vote, because otherwise to me it's a wasted vote.
Eddie, do you feel it's a fair assessment that your page, as Linda mentioned, is it more conservative?
I think there's more conservative contributors to it.
The contributors, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And Linda, give us an example of where you've had to take somebody off
Well,
the
to
page.
me, again, I want people to be able to express their opinions.
Right.
But when that opinion turns into a personal attack on someone else, they're out. There's no second guessing. There's nothing. We're not going to go into you are a
Right.
type
Interesting.
situation. I don't like that. If you want, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been called libtard. It's just annoying,
Yes.
but to me, it doesn't bother me because I can handle my own opinions. I can stand up for myself. But when someone else in my group is being attacked for their opinions and it gets personal, there's no second chance. You're out.
So
We're not
you would defend even a conservative on your
Absolutely.
page
And I
that
have.
got
And I
attacked.
have.
Okay.
I have. There are people that have gone in and, gone right back into it. And I'm like, okay, and I have to be the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Both of y'all are wrong here.
Yes.
I'm going to give you one warning, unless it's like, dangerous type of
Sure.
aggression. Well, I'll give you one warning. You're both being childish. You can either have a discussion or you can both leave.
Right.
I'll let you have the option of leaving. You don't want me to be the one to kick you out because then you're banned. You're not coming back. So I'm very strict when it comes to that because we're adults. Let's just, we can have differences of opinions.
Yes.
We don't have to do personal attacks. We don't have to try and dox people and say this person did this, that person did this. I'm not going to use your business because of this, blah, blah, blah. It just gets stupid.
It does.
It
can
gets
be.
stupid. It's like, it's not an airline. You don't have to announce your departure type situation. If you don't want to use my business because I'm what you consider liberal or whatever, cool. That's what's great about this country, because for every one of you, there's 3 people that will.
But you did you mention also that there's another person that was at least when you started the page that was kind of counterbalancing your?
Yes.
Is that person still on?
She actually just a couple of weeks ago got hacked on Facebook and can't get back in.
Oh
no.
So I'm holding space for her.
Okay.
I was like, if you're able to get back in, I'll put you right back in.
And she has more of a conservative views
she's
or
more conservative,
leans?
but she's also she's not as I don't want to say I'm strict because I'm not strict, but she will just let people fight it out.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is not the page. This is not what it was designed
Right.
for. So I think from when I took over in 2018 to now, the page is completely different. There's a lot more cordial. It's more informative. People know that if they start getting out of line, if they start getting twisted, Linda's going to go in there and get rid of you. So
Right.
I want people to be able to have decent conversations and actually learn something from each other,
Right.
because we can.
Right.
No matter your views, you can always learn from someone else.
Absolutely.
And do you see that, Eddie, too? People getting on your page and starting to attack others on politics, and do you let it flow?
There's some, I usually just let it flow. And usually it plays out after, a little scuff up, and then they
Kind of like
decide to go their own way.
like our own personal Facebook pages, or people.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, and how many followers do you have, more or less?
What do we have? I think we looked it up, about 8,000, 8,500?
About 8,500, I
Yeah.
think.
And you, Linda,
I think it's about 5.
5,000. So, have you seen that grow over?
It's I'd say probably over the last year, it's growing, but we're also losing a lot.
Why?
Either by me or because there if you want to do this, like I said, he lets people argue on his page. You want to do that, go over there.
So I can't vent on your page
I mean,
without
you can.
without
You can.
facts
And
or.
I think we've had some exchanges on my page. as well,
Absolutely,
too.
you've been very rude to
But
me. Yes, but you've been accurate.
That's
consistent.
Accurately rude.
And
Okay,
consistent.
That's first. But I am consistent with it.
Yes.
But I'll do the same for
Yes.
someone that's on my side. I hope you've seen that as well.
I have.
So I'm like, we're not gonna do this here because we get nowhere.
Yes.
Like there's one particular post that's still on my page. If anybody wants to say that I am running this as a liberal page, it's anti-LGBTQ. And it was all during Pride Month. And
I do recall something
I
about
left
that.
it
Yes.
because there was a lot of misinformation in it. And every single time there's misinformation, I'm posting the correct information with links to the right information.
Right.
So I want people to see that. And it's not just, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind, but when it comes to something like that, I want people of that community to know that there is someone here on their side.
Right.
And that's my main reason for leaving that up there. Now, I did warn this particular person many, many times, you are verging on the don't be a jerk rule. And I'm going to tell you right now, I want to leave this up because I want people to read this. I want people to see this.
Makes sense.
But I will kick you out if you keep going.
Yes.
I think eventually that person left on their own. So I'm like, cool, but that's still there. I didn't remove any of his posts. Yes, it's him. But I want it there because I need people need to know they're not alone. And especially in the LGBTQ community, feeling alone is deadly. So that is something that needs to be kept out there.
Well, and to your point, we just got through doing a mental health episode, and I think that was one of the key topics that we pointed out in that show was being alone and not having the access to those resources is deadly.
Exactly.
So I'd be interested to know how much crossover there is between the two groups.
I have seen some people
And I don't know where the
sharing some
stats
stuff
are.
from
being
Pretty
a
Breaking
member
News
of
and
both
from
pages.
Informed Citizens. There people share stuff from those.
Yeah.
all the time.
And your page seems to get a lot more current, day to day things going on.
That's interesting. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. And it's something that I'd like on our page to get more into, but
Because I've weeded out the arguing.
But I mean, is
It's
it a
about-
demographic thing? Is it because if he is labeled a more conservative group, are they engaged in more activities where they're not having as much time versus, I don't know, is
Well, I
there
think
something?
with ours, I've been, because we have the same issue as far as spam is concerned. I'm very on top of the spam. It's not happening in this group. Because it muddies the waters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we post, and which I think is the same with yours, is community activities. So people know we're not going to have to weed through arguments to find current events.
Yes.
So because that's not on my page. So I think a lot of people will post, the current events, what's happening locally, all that stuff on mine because it's easier to find.
Right.
Now, if you want to go, don't get me wrong, I'm a little sadistic on some sides because I just let me just go look on that page, see what kind of caca's going on. But I don't engage.
Yes.
I'm not engaging with it. But I don't find a lot of what's happening today in Bernie
Interesting.
on that page or on the Informed Citizens is it's kind of a mix in between the two of us. I think we're both on kind of opposite spectrums there when it comes to what's on the page.
Right.
But because we're focused on accuracy, I think people will go to an accurate page to find out what's going on.
That's your mantra there, and that's your
Absolutely. It's our number one rule. It has to be accurate.
Interesting. So, Eddie, Linda mentioned about there was an issue during Pride Month or Pride Day, right, here in Bernie. And I remember we had festivities and celebrations in Bernie. And to the chief police's credit, he was there, I believe, with his troops. And Eddie, you've been here a long time. Had you seen this kind of event before, or is this the first time we've had these events?
Oh, there was one.
This is the fourth year. Okay.
Fourth year, yeah. So it's been going on, and we've had people, post it and everything, but really don't get a lot of blowback on it. Some, there's always someone's going to.
You get someone on your page that don't like it.
That's going to, make a snide comment or something. So.
And you let that you guys let that stay?
Slide, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, someone wants to be an idiot. We let them.
Let them expose themselves.
Sunshine's the best disinfectant. So.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, we'll keep that. We'll keep that in mind.
There you go.
And so do you see Bernie then changing, and because of that, do you see Bernie being more? Like your page. You think your page would have been on 6, 7, 10 years ago? No, you think
Not at all. Not at all.
Is that because of the demographic? That's,
Well, I think I don't think the demographic is so much changed. I think people are feeling more comfortable
to speak up.
because there are people like myself who don't care what anyone thinks about them. I'm going to say what I feel.
Right.
I'm going to stand up for what I think is right. I'm going to stand up for people being wronged. That's just in me. That's how I've always been my whole life. So I get a lot of messages, private messages, thanking me for what I say, what I do, being so outspoken, not caring that I lose business in Bernie because of what I speak. Because I've had a lot of people feel, like I said, they feel the need to tell me they're departing, even though they've never been a customer of mine.
Right. Right.
Okay, I'm gonna so miss that money that I never had from you.
Sure.
But it doesn't affect me in that way, because to me, the end all of life itself is what did you do to help other people.
Well said.
And if you can't stand up and say this person was wronged and I didn't do anything, or if you do say I didn't do anything. Whoever you believe in, what God you believe in, whatever, how are you going to justify that?
Mhm.
Because that's what we're here for. That's the one thing we all have in common is love for each other, whether you want to admit it or not. And how you express that, how you show that is the whole purpose of us being here.
Right. We had a veteran on the show recently, and he was as tough as they come, combat veteran, 23 years, combat medic, and he's now a stand-up comic. And he said he's also a victim of the
Cancel culture.
cancel culture. Because
Culture casualty.
Casualty, right? He made a comment. He made I guess a racial comment during one of his monologues in Austin, and it people were walking out.
Yeah.
And
Wanted a refund.
Yeah.
They wanted a refund.
You can't get a refund for comedy. What are you going to do? Take the jokes back?
right,
I mean,
right. Exactly.
I want to unhear this and give me my money back. Come on.
So it kind of goes to what you said,
Yeah.
the cancel culture. Do you think that's still alive and well, or do you think that's dying out?
For sure. Absolutely alive and well. I think the more of it is on the conservative side, which is funny because they're the ones that are screaming cancel culture at the other side, but
It's on both sides, huh?
it's on both sides.
Yeah, I see that. I see people boycotting businesses
Absolutely.
for their
Absolutely. Left
political.
and right. Left
Yes.
and right.
Yes.
Left, right, and middle. But yeah, no, it's everybody's, I'm not going to do this because you did this. I'm not going to do this because you did that. I'm going to, blast you on social media. Ever since the advent of social media, cancel culture has existed because people can sit on their keyboard and write all kinds of, BS about somebody else. And it doesn't even have to be true.
That's true.
What is that? You tell a lie 3 times, it becomes the truth. That's all you have to do.
Correct.
And how many people do you think, and there's no way to track this, but this is for both of you, when folks become that keyboard warrior, right, and they're doxing or they're gaslighting, how many people are really paying attention to that? And if they are paying attention to it, is it because they need the drama? I mean, so how much of this is entertainment versus actually trying to provide accurate information
Well,
or breaking news?
What's happening with news in general.
What's entertainment?
It used to be news.
Right.
Then it went into entertainment news. And then it went into something completely different, where we have news stations being fined $1 billion for purposely lying to their clients.
And they don't care, though.
And they don't care. They didn't lose any viewers, did they? No. We don't care. We want to believe what we want to believe, whether it's fact or not. So we're going to seek out, and thanks because of internet and all this stuff, we're going to seek out something that justifies our belief.
Right.
We're not going to look at something else. Why would we try to prove ourselves wrong? Right. So that's again why, I think my page is important because I will research everything that's on there, both sides, and come up, okay, guys, this doesn't look like this is accurate at all. Let's look at the media bias. Let's look at how accurate this particular website is. Let's look at, science. Science. This was, I think it was, I'm trying to remember who it was that said it. He's a famous comedian, atheist, but he basically said, you take all the religions of the world, wipe them out, wipe out science. 1,000 years from now, science is still going to have the same answers because science doesn't change. The facts don't change.
Well, just because we label it science doesn't mean that it's science. It's got to be provable and it's got to be repeatable.
It's got to be, exactly. That's my point.
So you have a
That's
theory
what
and
he's saying,
hypothesis.
Right.
That's the whole purpose of science, scientific fact.
Right.
If you, we can create, look at all the religions of the world that we've had.
Yes.
Because we have created them. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend
There's
anybody.
more being created as we speak.
There's more being created over and over again. And they're like the spaghetti people. But anyways,
Spaghetti monster. Spaghetti monster.
The whole point is, if you're going off of science, you're going to get the same answers again. Religion, you're not. So there's certain things. I don't consider religion fact in that sense because it's not something that's provable. This is something you believe in your heart. This is what faith is all about, right? So, but you can't prove to me that your religion is right and mine is wrong and vice versa. That's what, to me, I think man created religion because all of them are. It's
for control.
It is, well, it's for control, but it's responsible for the most deaths
That's
with war and all these other things. Look what's going on right now. So to me, I'd rather just get to know who you are outside of all of that. And then I formulate my opinion that way. I'm not going to formulate my opinion based on what deity you believe in, because you're allowed to believe whoever and whatever you want. You just don't force it on me. That's what I'm hoping that we're going to get to at some point. But it always gets worse before it gets better, So hopefully at one point we'll all be able to sit down and just not be jerks.
good luck with that.
I doubt it, but
Exactly.
Good luck with that one, yes.
we hope for that. Yeah, and I think if we go back to the core beliefs of the founding of the country, the big deal was freedom of religion.
Exactly.
And it's like, what's good for me is good for you.
Exactly.
And,
And it doesn't have to be good for you, and that's okay.
and then, you aren't, or it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Like that.
Are you a decent human being?
That's what it comes down
That's really all I care about.
Yeah.
And when people use your religion as a determining factor of whether or not you're a decent human being, that's where I have a problem.
Yeah.
And Eddie, on your page, do you see what's the hottest topic? Is it politics? Is it religion?
Usually politics.
Right.
And although got the Bernie breaking, we still get people. Well, this isn't about Bernie. Well, we just had Bernie.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'd be a pretty unpopulated page on that. So we're always throwing stuff in on that. But yeah, it comes down to politics, whether local or national.
So Eddie, you say politics is kind of a hot topic on Bernie Breaking News, but let's shift gears a little bit. Do you recall any posts that was actually funny and that brings to mind?
Oh, gee, there's so many mediocre ones. A few stand out. One of what really got the page going, and when we first had it, was when COVID hit.
Okay.
And just trying to stay up on all the information on the COVID. And, you had the ones, masks don't work, masks work.
Oh, yeah. It was hot. Yeah.
Vaccinations work, vaccinations don't work, like that. And that was probably where the biggest scuff-ups were. And that's where most of the
heated debates
came in from, and where we drew the most people onto the page.
You saw your page expand?
It really exploded right during the first part of COVID. Of course, my son was a little more active in it before he started his roofing company there. And he was a big believer in the mask and all of that. And I was a little more skeptical.
That's interesting.
So we had even within the family, posting and everything.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you, as an administrative moderator, you're open to post your opinions as well?
Yeah.
And how does that go when you do that?
Surprisingly, very few people argue with me.
Do you find the same thing, Linda? People are intimidated to argue with the administrator?
No.
No.
They like to argue. They like to argue. Now I remember where I took your photos for the roofing company.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't cancel you.
No, he didn't cancel me. It was his son that hired. So maybe that was
That's wonderful.
But yeah, no, I try to stay out of it as much as I can, unless it's something that I'm like really adamant about.
Right.
Mainly because I don't want people to think that this page is my views 100%.
Correct.
So I will put my stuff in there and just let people know they don't have a problem going back and forth with me.
Right.
But this is, typical conservative town, and nobody's afraid of a woman. You know how that goes when it's men in general, which that's kind of my favorite. I'll have to admit, it's my favorite when men try to talk down to me. But
I've seen your one of the reasons you're here is because I've seen a lot of your interactions, and I have to say I respect the way you've handled some of these interactions with people that have been silly and ridiculous, and yet the way you articulate your points, you've always been very respectful, and
thank you.
At least from what I see,
I try.
Yes,
I try really hard.
Yes.
Once I took the admin role.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get down and dirty and argue like this anymore. Right. But I am going to respect everyone equally until there's a reason not to.
Right.
And for the most part, I haven't had anyone get to the point where it pushed me over the edge.
Yes.
It takes a lot to get me to that point, because for the most part, I just really don't care. I really don't. I don't care what your opinion is, as far as because you're not affecting my day-to-day life.
That's hard to do. It's hard to do.
Well, I mean, I'm a cancer survivor, so when it comes to those kinds of things, I'm like, You can't, as my husband says, they can't take your birthday away.
Your perspective is
So
very
I
clear.
don't, it's not, I'm not going to get angry over it. I understand where you've grown up. I understand because I've been in small town America my whole life. So I understand the thinking. But my biggest thing, the biggest thrill that I get is trying to understand why you believe the way you do, why you're so adamant about this is right, this is wrong. It's interesting to me. The human experience is all about understanding each other. So I look at it that way instead of, I'm not going to force my opinion on you. I will tell you what my opinion is. When it's fact is a different story. I will show you why it's factual. I will list everything out. This is why it's factual. Here's the links that you can go to. Here's the scientific research, make your own opinion. But if you want to keep going back and forth and not read it, I'm just going to be done.
Right.
I'm just going to be done. It's there. I've left it there for you. I'm not going to be mad at you.
Sounds like you're the right person for that job. Then.
I try to be.
Yeah,
I try to be.
it's
I
hard.
took it seriously,
Yes.
because I took over right before 2020. And we had the same issues with, the horse dewormer and all this other craziness.
Ivermectin.
Yes, when I'm like, people, when you're putting out false information, you could kill people.
Yes.
So that was my number one thing. I'm like, pay attention to what you're putting out here. This could kill someone. When you're saying that the COVID shot is killing millions of people, that could kill someone who needs that shot because they're not going to take it because they're believing you. Look at the actual facts and then make your decision. I'm not going to tell anybody you have to. I wasn't one for mandates. I'm like, I think everyone should have a certain amount of medical freedom. A lot of medical freedom. As a woman, I want medical freedom. And I don't want to tell someone else what they can do with their body. But in a pandemic, we have a collective consciousness that should be united. I don't want to just protect myself. I want to protect other people too.
Don't you think there's a level of discernment, though, from your members of your group that they have to apply to everything that's being posted? I mean, isn't the onus of the responsibility of fact checking, doesn't that really ultimately fall upon the followers?
Yes, for sure. For sure. But when we have an onslaught of misinformation, it is difficult for the regular, just everyday person wanting to go about their day to read something. It's difficult for them to sift through all of that. So when I go on and I'm taking control of a page that is number one about accuracy, that's my job. I want to make sure that that is accurate information. So when someone comes to my page, they'll be like, okay, for the most part, I can see that this is accurate information. Now, I can't, like I said, I can't get to all of them. I am just one person. But when I do see it and I see something that is opinion labeled as fact, I will say, hey, you either need to rewrite this
As an opinion.
right?
Or
Because the way you're
cite your
presenting
research
this,
and your
the way you're
references.
presenting this as fact.
It's interesting because in fact, I know, I was going to say I think, but two things can be true at the same time. Right? Would you agree with that, Eddie?
Well,
And have you seen anything like that on your page that you've had to kind of, I'm not sure if that's
well, again, I pretty well just let it go and then let the different
Let the followers kind of.
followers, hash it out and everything. I just kind of provide a forum for them to have a platform to present that.
Well, that helps. That helps
And-
understand it better.
Yeah. So, and some of them will post something and then take it off, or they'll change their mind or something, and go on. That's what I like, is the free exchange of ideas and everything. Now, I may see something that, I don't think that's right. I'll do my research and everything. And it's like, well, you said this, but here's what general consensus is.
So it sounds like you would probably remove somebody if they used something like profanity or something that was really out.
Something really out of that, or a real attack on
hate
someone.
speech.
Something
Okay.
like that. But it's just they
So
call somebody a fucking idiot. It's like, don't cuss.
Yeah, right. Unless you have the facts, right?
Yeah.
So Eddie,
Unless it has been determined that you actually are.
right. So Eddie, this is a very political town. We've got some people going to be running for office here pretty soon. Does your page endorse anyone when they run for office?
No.
You don't endorse?
No.
How about you, Linda?
Nope.
No endorsements?
Not at all.
Do you allow candidates to post their
Yes.
stances?
Yes, those are the things that when we have our advertisements,
Right.
there are the exceptions, political candidates, public activities, things like that.
Okay.
We just don't endorse businesses. So I don't even allow, the only people that can come on as a page are political candidates.
Okay.
So if you come on, like if I wanted to join as Linda Rukavina Photography, I can't. Because that is an endorsement of my business, just having my name there.
I think you allowed us on your page.
Well, you're also a public service. You're a public service.
Thank you for that.
That is one of the exceptions. But a lot of people, I get people upset. They're like, "Well, I'm on this, and I want to, come in as so and so realty." No, you're already on the page as a person.
Sure.
We want people to deal with here.
Right.
And so it makes it a lot easier. And then it doesn't look like we are endorsing anyone because all the political candidates can go in there and post whatever the heck they want to an extent, if it's accurate.
It's accurate, exactly.
Yeah. And then we kind of limit. I mean, we don't let them spam us.
Right.
It's like
Right.
one or two
So
posts every couple of 3 days. It's not like 5 or 6
That
a
is
day.
a rule that I'm thinking of adding because during voting, it's like 3 a day. And I'm like,
It's like got to draw a
need
line
to-
somewhere where it's.
exactly.
that's good to know, John. So when I run against you for county commissioner or judge, whatever, I can actually post things about you.
And well, just do it
About
on our
you.
page. Do it.
I mean, as a candidate, I can say what he's not doing well, right? As long as it's accurate.
As long as it's accurate. He's like, let's see, how long is it going to take Linda to research this?
Yes, exactly.
You try to slide it in underneath there.
Yes.
So I think it's interesting, and I'm sorry, I saw you trying to you want to get in the word edgewise, and I keep stepping on you, but I think it's interesting that every time you go on, and just recently I go on and I look for Bernie, and I'll put it in the search bar to see what new groups are coming available. And there's quite a few of them out there. So do you think that people are trying to mimic you? Do you think that they don't like your style or what message that you're trying to convey or what you're allowing onto the page? And now they want to say, well, I want my own little piece of the pie and get my word out there. Have you had any kind of interaction? Right on.
I just don't care. It's the same with my business, because we have in photography, everybody's always worried about what this person's doing, what that's a waste of energy.
Plenty of room at the
It's a
table.
waste of energy.
Absolutely.
And it seems like a lot of them are more a specific topic.
Yes.
Still related to the area and everything, but a little bit more, nightlife or music or
Small town
food,
updates.
Small town,
I agree. I think so. I think you, at least in my attention, both your pages have caught my attention as more news related, providing current events.
Right.
So I'd like to thank both of you and give both of you a plug again so those followers here in Kendall County and Bernie, Texas, that want to have more information, more news about what's going on in your area, follow these two pages. We have Bernie Breaking News over here with Eddie Vogt. We have Bernie Area Citizens for Accurate Information with Linda Rukavina, and I think we've learned a lot, John, haven't we today? And
I absolutely. And if I may, I would just like to point out, since we are here in this forum, that we are always looking for news stories, and we could use your help as you see things come up into your groups and you go, man, we don't have all the facts. Maybe somebody ought to look into this a little bit more. We would love to take that torch and carry it for you and then report back. But and also, if you would encourage your followers to say, hey, look, if you have something that you are concerned about within the community, there is an outlet for you now. Right? Not only can you use our page, but if you want to remain anonymous, or even if you don't, and you want to try to get to the bottom of a story, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. And I would hope that if they reach out to you, that you would in turn forward them to us, and we would do the same likewise. But I think this is a prime opportunity within our community and the times that we're living in, is that the more information, the more accurate information that we have, the more informed the people can be. And I think one of the challenges on social media and even in the podcast arena is people are still a little bit, I don't want to say scared, they're hesitant to come forward with information or knowledge that they may have about a particular subject because they're scared of retribution. There's a lot of retribution in this county, a lot, and it's happening, every single day. And the average citizen doesn't see it directly.
Right.
And there are a few folks that are members of both of your groups that are experiencing this on a day-to-day basis. And they finally just get to the point where they're whittled down and they just either give up because they don't have an outlet.
Right. And that's what the Texas Examiner is about. We're, as you noticed today, we brought both of you on so that we have different perspectives. Two pages that are trying to get information out with two different approaches. And our guests, we'll always have two guests on our show. We have a police chief and a defense attorney. We have a psychiatrist and a patient who, thought of committing suicide. So it'll always be different perspectives, but on the same issue, and because I think that's what we think Kendall County needs is allowing people a safe forum to communicate their views and their different perspectives and learn from each other. I've definitely learned from both of y'all a lot more now about what Bernie Breaking News is about, and your goal, Linda, with Bernie Area Citizens for Accurate Information, that you're trying to instead of just giving them a forum, you're making sure that this is true what they're going to post and that they have some thought behind it.
Yep.
So, any parting words?
Yeah. So one more thing, with the algorithms and how the algorithms work, not everybody gets to see every post that comes through, and most people probably don't have the time, or they say they don't have the time to go into your page individually, separately, and start scrolling through all of these things. So if there was a message that you could impart to your followers via our medium here on the podcast, what would that be?
Oh, for my followers on my group?
For any, our
Or for anybody, would you like to? Well, yeah.
Accuracy. Accuracy is so important. And I think a lot of people don't realize that being inaccurate could be the end of someone's life. It's that important. So be careful what you say, research what you say, and know if you're going to put yourself out there on a public forum, there are consequences to what you say.
Absolutely.
Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence. You need to really think about what you're going to put out there for people to read and who's reading that.
Great ideas there. One thing I would say, check back, like you said, the algorithms and everything. You may not be getting all the notifications and everything. Go to that page, once a day, just take a few minutes, scroll through there and see if there's something new.
Use that little most recent button.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know that's there.
And we don't get that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a great point, folks. For those of our viewers and listeners, please, it does help the algorithms, not only with the Facebook pages, but the YouTubes, the TikToks, all the social media. Please do us a favor. Hit that like button, the follow button. Make a comment. We want to hear from you. And I'm sure you want to hear from all of your followers as well. And if you're seeing us on YouTube or one of the other video channels, please make sure you follow us to get the latest information that we're able to bring to you.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Look forward to following y'all's pages.
We look forward to seeing more accurate and more information every day. So we appreciate what you're doing for the community.
Thank you.
That's good. Thank you.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us today. My name is John. This is Robert. And we are so happy that you joined us. Stay tuned for our next show coming hopefully within the next week. And we'll be talking to our Bernie police chief and a defense attorney.
That'll be interesting.
It will be. Thanks, folks. Y'all have a great day.